How you feeling, brother?
Good. Good. It's going to be 8 months today. Feels good.
Huge accomplishment.
8 months of sobriety. It's like half of a good job and half of a, should I be proud of myself kind of invitation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been to this point before. But I'll also, I haven't given sobriety this much of an opportunity in my life,
Yeah.
But, yeah, feeling good. Shit's good.
I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. I'm sure it's a hard, a moment of contention within yourself because I can definitely see both sides for you, wanting to be really proud and celebrate that win and also having to keep yourself a bit humble.
Sure.
Where you don't put yourself into this next, ego level. And then at the same time, yeah, you've been here before, but it is, like you said, a new feeling. So,
yeah.
How does it feel today in your sobriety? How does it feel today in your sobriety?
Well, it's good as far as I've been doing a lot more service work lately, which...
what do you mean by that?
Service work as far as in my 12-step programs. I'm going to help out with a Halloween party that's coming up.
Cool.
So I'm going to work on that with some of the groups. Then also I've been trying to be a lot more involved in some of the newcomers' path and information, or just telling them my experiences with things and stuff like that. And, I have a few guys that, kind of look up to me because I've been doing this for a while. Now, maybe not look up to me, but call me on some issues. I had a friend call me yesterday about his sponsor, and, he started out the conversation, I don't know if this is the right sponsor for me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, what's going on? He said, I don't think I can be totally honest and truthful with them. And I feel like further along, we've been doing this for 6 months, that he should know a little more about me.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first question was, well, how many times a week do you call him? Do you call him every day? No, not really. Blah, blah, blah. I said, how is he going to get to know you if you're not talking to him every day? And he's like, well, I talk to him, and then I tell him what's going on with me, and he gives me the basic, well, did you pray about it answer? And a lot of sponsors can be like that, I guess I told him, look, you went to an IOP program, and you had a counselor who was there to talk about your issues.
Yeah.
Sponsors aren't really there to listen and talk about your issues.
Right?
They're not your therapists.
Yeah.
They're going to teach you a new way of life if you're open to it.
Yeah.
And then you have different sponsors that are totally invested and want to figure out how to help you in those emotional ways.
A backup accountability in a sense? Is that accurate to say? Someone to keep you accountable, but someone also to be there to support you through the process?
100%.
Yeah.
But I think there's such a divide. Maybe not a divide. Maybe that's the wrong word. But the old school sponsor mentality compared to some of the new school sponsor mentality. And also, this is his first time really getting into AA.
Yeah.
12-step programs. And it was also his first IOP program, and he had one of my favorite counselors over there. And so she dug the shit into him.
Yeah.
And that's what he loved.
Yeah.
And so
I feel like you're getting somewhere.
And so he's expecting that from this sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, look, you have one of two options. You can get off the phone with me, and you can call your sponsor, and you can tell them exactly what you just told me, which is going to be the hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best progressive thing for you to do, because plan B is what you're used to. It's telling that sponsor, look, this isn't working out for me, and go and find a different sponsor. That's the easy way out.
Yeah.
Instead of confronting the issue and see what he says. You know, be open, honest, and vulnerable with him without expecting what the fuck he's going to say back to you.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is hard, because he's expecting, if you're always looking and expecting something from somebody and you don't receive it, everything that they say is wrong.
Yeah, disappointing, yeah.
It's kind of like politics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're one side of the politics point of views, and you ask questions to the other side, you're never going to hear what they have to say, because they're not open and willing to listen to what they have to say, because they expect it to be wrong.
Yeah, you already wrote the narrative in your head.
Exactly. So no information I seeps in. So he called the sponsor, and he was like, dude, thank you so much for that. He was like, you know, my sponsor didn't know that I needed a little more from him, and it's like, we don't understand
so simple to
what another person wants
directly communicate
until they lay it out for us.
Yeah,
we expect them to know.
Mm-hmm.
And me and you were talking a lot before about expectations.
Yeah, and then you end up harboring like this unwarranted resentment towards the other party or the circumstance itself, because you're like, this isn't giving me what I need, right? And that's so complex, all of that. But the simple thing is just like, I think of it being as soon as you said that, what I wanted to say was, one of the most important things when I'm in a room like that, how I check myself is, which is so human and natural, to be almost like, you know, you have this expectation, this judgment, whatever it is, but it's just like in those spaces, like, oh, I have something bigger to learn here.
Right.
Than I thought from all the stuff that's like getting you into the, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
There's something to learn in every room.
Right.
And if you can kind of humble yourself back down to like, okay, this person's a bore, they're not hit, you know, it's not hitting whatever it is, and say, okay, what can I learn in this room? Like, what can I learn from this person? It just brings you back to a new perspective. Like, everybody, you know, I get it. There's, especially in a program like that, you know, you might need things and you can advocate for yourself for that. But in the same sense, it's like, look at what that situation brought him.
Right.
Ultimately, pretty big growth for him, you
Yeah.
know? And the ability to now advocate for himself, talk to someone who probably a light went off in their head. Oh, okay, how can I learn from this experience and grow? It's just such a great opportunity that a lot of times we just like brush it off as like, that's not my jam, or I don't want that, or that they're not good enough.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
and it's such a narrow-minded way to think, but until that door is opened and you learn how to advocate for yourself in a healthy manner, learn that you can talk to people truthfully and honestly, which honestly, that is the only way to get things done.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're not truthful and honest with somebody, you're holding resentment.
Yeah. We're so scared to do it because obviously fear of how the other person's going to react or how ultimately they're going to think about you. You know what I mean? So then we put this mask on, or we're not truthful, or we're not open and honest. We don't allow any room for growth.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. I think it's really hard for us. A lot of us are conditioned to, when we bring something to the table, it already has this like notion of like, I'm confronting.
Yeah. Right. Sure.
I'm confronting. I have to bring this to the table. Oh my God. You know, it's like, well, it's not really that big of a matter to be bringing to the table. It's not like, hey, I need to confront you and let you know you're not doing a good job. But in our heads, we're already like conditioned to think like, okay, in this setting where I'm supposed to be, or I'm supposed to be, right? It's just an expectation. That's kind of hardwired. That's the verbiage, and that's the this picture that we paint in a lot of these situations. Like if I'm giving you my time and if we're meeting for any specific thing, we already have expectations, right?
Yeah.
So it's like our duty as humans to go into a lot of our life without those expectations. And then if they arise, you know, to kind of cut them off right there and say...
Yeah. I think there's also the underlying condition of, oh, I'm weak if I have to present this to somebody. If I'm not getting what I need from them and I bring it up to them, subconsciously I feel like I'm weak. Because if they're not giving it to me, why can't I give it to myself?
Yeah,
if I need this from somebody else, why can't I do it for myself?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you can turn the weakness into like this anger, egotistical view.
Yeah.
Like, fuck them, they're not giving me what
they're
I want.
Yeah.
I don't need.
They're not good.
I don't need them. I'm strong enough.
Yeah, it can go down so many different avenues, but yeah, ultimately. So that's a really positive story. To bring it back to him, and to you being able to kind of assist him through that is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then he texted me this morning. He's like, dude, thank you so much for talking me into that.
It feels really good.
My sponsor went out that night. We talked, and then we went to a commitment together.
That's
and I'm like,
great.
You know, that's what...
built a deeper bond with one conversation.
Right, and that's what reminds me of how good I'm doing, even though I don't realize the steps I am taking in my sobriety. Because I'm living in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, all these small, little progressive steps are so quickly forgotten when I'm thinking about the next one.
Absolutely.
And so, like, I get so wrapped up in what's the future big goal instead of reminding myself of all these past small goals that I'm stepping stoning upon.
Yeah.
And when something like that happens and I get such a good validating response back, I remind myself that other people are seeing my progress enough so that they are instilling their trust into me, and then I can advocate and validate them and help them along in their process, which makes me feel somewhat stronger in my process.
Absolutely.
And it's not an ego thing for me. It's a very self-validating and pleasing, happy fucking feeling.
It's realization of your growth and being proud of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we're so quick to, like, you know, that balance, like I was talking about when you're at your 8 months, it's like, well, on one hand, you want to congratulate yourself, and on the other hand, it's like, you know, that feeling, and it's like, we're again conditioned to think, you know, there's a fine line between cockiness and confidence.
Sure.
And there's a fine line of pride and narcissistic ego. You know, so it's that's so healthy to be able to look at something humbly and know that, like, okay, I'm able to actually have this moment of realization where I can validate my experience right now and all the work I've been putting in.
Yeah.
I think that happened to me, like, probably a year or so ago. I would say the past, like, 3 to 4 years, I've really been deep in this, you know, trying to unravel and discover new parts and work towards healthier patterns and healthier me ultimately. And, you know, I came in at a really a darker place, and I remember going through something, and I had gone into an appointment with a shaman I was working with, and she was like, I was kind of bitching and banging about it. Like, I was feeling really down. I was feeling like, why am I here again?
Yeah.
Like, why am I experiencing this again? And she was like, you just told me, like, how that played out in your response. And she was like, can you just take a moment to reflect how a year ago that would have played out? And it was just so cut and dry in my mind when she said that, because I was like, I knew exactly how I would have handled that situation a year ago, but I didn't track. You don't track it almost, and it's hard to have those, especially when you're doing, you know, you see milestones.
Yeah.
You hear them in your head, month 1, month 2, I'm here, but little things like wow, I handled that in this way, or I was able to say that to this person when I didn't even have that understanding a year ago, and look at how it trickled off. It's just really nice to have those moments where you're like, wow, that's really validating that, like, this isn't for nothing. Because a lot of times,
Right.
like, when you're working so hard, you're in it every day. You don't feel those changes,
Sure.
you know? You might feel a big thing, but sometimes just like a little moment of like, wow, that was a much healthier response. Like, can't wait to see how I'm going to be in another couple of years.
Yeah.
After putting in work for me.
Sure. And so, like, when I hear you talk about that experience you just talked about, you said, why am I here again? Your expectation that you shouldn't be where you are is the real problem with where you are.
Absolutely.
You know, you're here again because you're working on something. And it's not, you're never here again.
Yeah.
You're never at the same place that you were.
Yeah.
You're never in a cycle of the same exact thing at all times. You're in a different time in your life, in a different timeline, and a different emotional stance, spiritual stance, physical stance. It's all new to you happening. It may feel the same, but feelings...
Well, it's tying the emotion to a past
experience.
Of course,
Understandable.
Yeah.
And then, so our mind is quickly reminded, oh, I felt this way at this time, so all of this must be happening. And then you're trying to assume everything in the past is going to happen again right now.
Of course, yeah.
Which is unfair to yourself, you know, because you're not giving yourself those little stepping stone, progressive steps, a chance to tell you, look, you're in a different place now.
Yeah, absolutely.
These feelings are the same, but they're not the same.
Not quite the same. Yeah, I experienced that a lot in a lot of aspects of life. But,
sure.
Especially, like, you know, relationships.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, many of us have had past relationships where you have an experience, especially when you get into your first, like that, it kind of changes you when you go through certain things, and that, you know, it tracks how it should be, or what the outcome is going to be when you're in a certain circumstance. So, like, constantly seeing those and breaking those with the understanding that this is not the same experience. Like, it sounds just so simple, of course, like, we know that, right? But when you're in a state of those, we want to call them triggers, traumas, are like awakened in you. You know, it's almost like my brain has a hard time catching up to the awareness of, like, okay, this is not the same experience, you know?
Right.
You really have to work through that and really understand that just because even if it's the same thing that was said, it's a different person, it's a different scenario, it's a different day.
Sure.
It's not that, you know. It's like it's just really hard in our, you know, we have a pretty limited language, and we have a pretty limited,
I think when we
like tones and stuff like that. So a lot of those expectations arise when a tone or a verbiage or, you know, a certain statement is made. It can be confusing for humans to distinguish meaning behind words, of course. You know what I'm saying? So without communication, a lot of same emotions can arise. You know, you have to kind of...
Yeah, I guess I bring up expectations a lot because I think it's the basis to 99% of our problems.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Emotionally.
Absolutely.
Because we're always assuming or expecting things to happen the way they did in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is going to act the same way.
Yeah.
And if I expect them to act the same way, positive or negative, I'm not giving them a chance to act in the way that they authentically want to act.
Yes.
I'm assuming their role, their mood, their demeanor, their actions before I walk in the door and see them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Not fair to me, not fair to you.
No.
And so when we do these expectation timeline relapses with people, places, and things, nothing will ever fucking change in our life.
Nope. Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, you're stuck in this repetitive misery cycle because things will always be the worst things.
Yeah.
We're always, as human beings, out of necessity, worried about, all right, what's the worst case scenario?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That goes back to tribal times.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Somebody walks out of a hut, I gotta make sure that there's no coyotes, dinosaurs, anything, so my kids don't get eaten.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I gotta expect the worst.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we have to expect other people to always be a certain way.
No. It kind of reminds me of like there's that quote where it's like, you're going to keep meeting yourself, the same you, or you're going to keep meeting the same circumstance or a situation or relationship over and over until you learn the lesson.
Sure.
And I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, of course.
From experience. And so but my perspective on that has changed because I always had the expectation of others behind that. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's once you really, you know,
I mean,
you don't like what you're getting, change what you're giving, kind of thing.
And what's like for me, when I think about a lesson, majority of the time, that lesson is it's none of your business. Let it go.
It's not about you.
It's not about you.
It's not about you at all.
You're taking somebody's fucking. I'll take road rage for an example.
Yeah.
Somebody cut me off. They disrespected me.
Yeah.
What's the lesson there? They're just fucking trying to get home, maybe. Yeah. Maybe they're pregnant and fucking need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
It's not about you. Nothing's about you. So, once you stop taking everything personally.
Right.
I can't even imagine. How does it feel? Can't wait to talk about this.
Taking everything personal or assuming that it's about you.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
So I told you I'm working through the let them theory right now because it's just very simple and it's very like...
Tell us about it.
So it's Mel Robbins, the let them theory. It's I don't want to speak too much on it because I'm just getting into it.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes I have a hard time producing words properly.
Yeah.
Anyways, but from my understanding thus far, listening to the audiobook, so it's just great when I drive, and it's like, it's really, calms my nervous system in a way that I can just focus on that instead of spiraling in my head. So the let them theory, from my understanding, is it's understanding that you have no control over anyone or anything.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this stop in when a circumstance happens that arises an emotion in you. You use the tool of let them, saying let them, as a almost blocker for you to become aware of the emotion and choose to let them. So it's just a moment of let's cut it off and let's choose that. So, like chemically, you have emotion that comes into a human body chemically releases, and within 5 to 6 seconds, it dissipates. So that's like the science behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can think of something when you were 6 years old that you still feel an emotion about, right?
Sure, of course.
So
core memory.
Yeah. So we take that emotion and we essentially write the narrative to the emotion.
Sure.
We write why we have the emotion. We write what that person thinks about the emotion and how they think about you if you show the emotion or you don't show the emotion. You make this super complex story about the emotion.
Yeah.
And essentially like hone in on it.
Yeah.
And you continue that. So that 5 seconds is now another 5, another 5, another 5 for as long as you'd like.
Yeah.
So it's not that it takes away your emotion, it just puts the stop and it makes the decision for you to say, okay, let them. So it's starting to rewire your brain to understanding that you don't have control and it's not about you. That's how I'm taking it thus far. It's been pretty powerful. I think she is kind of delve into like different sectors of your life where that can be implemented.
Right.
You know, she kind of starts off with talking about like, you know, the person in the line at the supermarket, right? It's like this person is, you know, up on your back, or, you know, the cashier is going super slow. I think that's the example she uses. And it's like, you know, you're annoyed. You're starting to get pissed off. You have an emotion based on it. Now you're judging. Yeah. Now you're trying to control the situation by having your emotion.
Yeah.
Because, again, we're like, it's protection, right? So it's the survival mode. So I'm feeling this way. I'm like, what are you going to telepathically rush him because you have somewhere to be? That's not so important, right?
Yeah.
So, or like your system, I guess, you have these emotions to protect yourself or to try and control the outcome.
Sure, out of defense.
Yeah. So when you decide to like cut that off and let them, it's just allowing, it's not saying, oh, let them fucking do it. It's saying, you know, let them.
Right.
Let them. So now I'm regulating my system, and I'm also now what are you growing in that moment where you're not allowing yourself to physically go off into a spiral where you're annoyed, you're pissed off, now you're agitated, you're gonna go home, you're gonna treat your family like shit. You know, the spiral goes on forever. You know, you can train your brain to just let them and have peace with it, and you know, it's just not. It's kind of this non-resistant attitude, and then maybe you're giving patience. Now you're learning, you know, what are all the positive effects from not feeling all of the negative effects, or at least letting them spiral. And it's like, it doesn't mean those emotions aren't real, right? But you're choosing to not be annoyed.
Sure.
And I think that I love that example because it's interesting how where I do control so heavily and am so overly emotional versus where I'm not, because I instinctively have so much patience for humans in the outside world when I go out in the world. At the supermarket, like, that is something I remember working on the let them theory at the youngest age. And I don't know what it was, if it just irked me when people do it, or if it was really instilled by our parents.
Yeah.
Like, we had a lot of those little good morals that, like, how to treat others and kindness and respect.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think maybe that has something to do with it as well. But, like, I watch people get annoyed, and that's a moment of pride for me. Always watching people get annoyed, or watching people get close up on people and like trying to rush people, or people just losing their mind on the road. Don't get me wrong, I've fucking been there. Yeah. But for the most part, now I'm able to be just like, you know, if somebody does gives me, you know, loses their mind on the road.
Yeah.
It depends on what kind of day
I'm
not gonna lie about it. But for the most part, I'm able to just be like, I always think about our cousin James, and he used to just be like, no, it's your day.
Yeah.
It's your day. Go ahead, it's your day. You know, you need that. Right. You need that. I'm not going to fight you. You know.
Yeah.
You can. You're all right.
Well, there's a battle that you win. People feel they need to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, either I'm right or I'm wrong. And if I back down and act normal and calm and just let them go by me, then I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm weak.
Yeah, really, it's the ultimate strength.
It's the ultimate
strength.
It's the ultimate superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when nothing can phase you to the point of peace.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because you can't find peace in the struggle.
Yeah.
When you're fighting who's right and who's wrong all the time.
Absolutely.
You know? The people that search for peace are the more calm, collective, understood, compassionate people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So real quick before I lose it, because I will lose it. So what reminded me of the let them theory is that I just got done with her. She was talking about someone had said to her that she got in like an argument with somebody or something, or somebody pissed her off, and she was like, someone had said, that's like their 8-year-old self. They're like acting like an 8-year-old.
Right.
And I'm not wording this right, but the moral of it was that picture every person that you're having a moment of contention with, or that is in a mood or whatever, as their 8-year-old self.
Sure.
Picture in the room that person's 8-year-old self is sitting there, because most adults walking this planet are actually have the emotional, whatever you want to call it, the emotions of an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Because we have an 8-year-old, how do they respond to certain situations, right? They throw a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Okay? What does an adult do?
Yeah.
Either throw a temper tantrum, or if you hurt somebody's feelings, right? So yes, that's what she speaks on, is the difference between the 8-year-old expressing their emotions in this way and the adult expressing their emotions in this way, is that they're just suppressing. They're just hiding.
I think that's the basis of IFS therapy.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Because your 8-year-old self is still running the shit as far as a lot of your defense mechanisms.
Of course. Going back to that time. Yeah.
Which flipping out and throwing a temper tantrum is one of your key defense mechanisms as an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
That's how you got that piece of candy. Or that's how you got your video games back.
Yes.
So, like, the only way to be noticed and validated now is to throw a more composed, maybe, temper tantrum, or a more manipulative
exactly. Composed is a tough word, right? Because that's composed would be the way to be handling your emotions.
Sure, yeah.
So, yes, it's like whether we run away. You know, what happens when you say something mean? 2 kids on the playground, they say something mean, they're going to run away and cry, right? So instead, in a relationship or something, you just shut the F down.
Right.
You know? Or you run away. Or I can't do this anymore. It's all, when you are able to look at somebody in this, like, it was a great visual for me to think about, like, oh, wow, you know, it's just my little self, like, not able to handle my emotions because of whatever. And this person, you know, treating me like I don't want to talk to you right now. It's just like everybody's just having a fucking temper tantrum in a certain way, right?
Sure.
But we all just experience these emotions, and then over time you learn based off of what your experience is how to suppress them, how to deal with them. Which is why you have different styles of dealing with things. You know, you have somebody that's going to explode. You have somebody that's going to run away. You have somebody that's going to shut down. You have somebody that's going to give it their all, like, please, beg you not to go. And then that all, you know, we can go into a whole conversation about where all that all comes from. But, you know, she does mention briefly, this is right where I'm at, is like, it's why it's our responsibility as adults to raise children, you know, to think about the difference in how the generations have gone and the difference of breaking patterns that maybe, you know, weren't wrong, because nobody knows better, right? Until we start to figure out maybe what is a little better and works a little better.
Right.
But we're definitely at that point now where we can look at childhood, nature versus nurture, and see how we're shaping kids to become, you know, whatever it may be. Anxious, depressed, filled with rage, how you handle situations. So it's like a little kid, she used the example of crying in a supermarket. It's like, you know, she says it right there, like that I would have just like lost my shit. I would have let them have a temper tantrum on the ground or whatever. All these different styles that we just think like this is how you deal with it because I need to control you.
Yeah.
Right? Because we want that control, because we're protecting them by controlling them.
Right.
We're trying to teach them that no, we can't do that. You can't throw a temper tantrum. You know, so what the right thing is to do is to hold space for someone in their emotions.
Yeah.
Holding space instead of resisting others' emotions because how they affect you, again, let them.
Yeah.
Why do I have expectations on how you should act? Why? Because that's going to affect how I'm going to act.
Yeah.
But really, it should have no effect, right? So you hold that child and you let them know, I know you really want that candy. I know. It's okay. It's all right. You can give me a hug. That you're feeling upset because you want the candy, because that makes perfect sense. It's something that you don't have and it's right here and you want it.
Right.
Of course you want it.
Yeah.
But you can't have it,
Sure.
And that's okay. I wish I could have all the candy too, bud, but we can't have it, And whatever. There's, I don't know anything about raising kids or whatever, but it's I've definitely seen it and experienced it and seen it with everybody that I know.
Sure.
It's we deal with talking to kids or deal with certain situations, or I deal with you getting pissed off in a certain way because that's what I know. So again, we're going back to the just breaking patterns. It's like I have a choice on how I want to decide to react.
Yeah.
And take this in and respond.
Yeah.
And move on and be honest.
I was listening to this guy talk about how we shut down imagination for kids so quickly early on in life. Like a kid has a cape on and he comes in the living room and jumps on the table because it's having such a good time and wants to jump off it. And the second he jumps on the table, he's screaming at him.
Yeah.
And then
we don't do that. We don't do that.
Instinctively, he's like, well, I'm not supposed to be running around having a good time. I'm not supposed to be enjoying myself,
Mm-hmm.
And then, so like, and sure, there's a line for every situation, but like, we don't put ourselves enough into child's, like, understanding.
Yeah.
Because we were all there at some point, It's like, I try and do my best to think about how this would affect me if I present this the way I'm going to my child.
Absolutely.
And
that's a great thing to think about, is that imagination thing. That's like a really powerful tool, I feel like, to just remember, like, whoa, we're messing with their psyche. Like, dude, like, they're exploring.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's like the cape on or off, like, they're just exploring. They have to figure it out and experience it. And you can help them along the way. But again, it goes back to like the control of what we should or shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And how you're viewed, as well as a parent. Like, it all affects it. But
yeah, and like when, like I've been trying to do a lot more. Like when my daughter asked me to play Barbies.
Yeah.
I try and do a lot more of yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Because like she's not going to be 5 for very long and want to play Barbies with me.
Yeah.
And like I'm tired as fuck and I don't want to fucking play Barbies. Like I'm an old man, but like she gets such joy out of it, and I forget like how important it is.
Yeah.
For us to have that bond to sit down and play Barbies.
That lives.
And like I still to a fault and like don't do it all the time.
Oh, it's so natural, I think.
And it's like, 1 minute,
Yeah.
well, in a little bit after I'm done doing this. And it's like, I look back later on in the day, I'm like, you're an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're not, also like to give yourself space in that moment. It's like, oh, that's just that you had the moment to think about it.
Yeah.
That's...
I don't know. I hold a lot of resentment towards myself for my children.
Yeah, of course.
Being in and out of their lives for so long in their lives. And like, it's tough for me to still think of myself as like a good dad.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I am.
Yeah.
I feel like I can do so much more.
Mm.
And
I feel like that must be like a pretty normal parental feeling, though. I feel it as an aunt.
I don't know.
I would think so, but I get where you're coming from.
So a person who's an addict, who's like done some pretty fucking shitty shit.
Yeah.
And not really been there for my kids as much as I should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's more instilled in me.
Yeah.
Like I'm working on it
Of course.
Probably not as hard as I should be.
Yeah.
To,
well, I hope you care for yourself in that way, because
I think I'm starting to, but still at the point, like, my expectation of myself.
Of course.
You know?
And your expectation of what a good father is, right? So, just from my perspective, I'll say to maybe try and give yourself a little bit of grace when thinking about just in general your situation, not specific, but like there could be a father that's present in there, and I think like those are some of the guidelines, right? Because anytime you were there, you love fully, you've made mistakes. I'm talking about like when you're present in their lives, you love them fully, you care for them, you let them explore. You're a great dad, right? So our general concept of what a good dad is number one, he's there.
Yeah, physically.
Yeah. And number two, he's not a avoidant, I don't see you, and I have expectations beyond belief. You're not even going to be able to ever figure out how to even meet my expectations, right? Like, that's like, the ways I feel like it can go.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is you could have had a dad that's been there the whole time. You could have been that dad. You could have done the simple things like I could have been there physically the whole time. You still would have been going through your own mental battle, whether you were dealing with it or not, which a lot of dads, unfortunately, men in society don't have the ability to even recognize. They just do. They provide. They're there. Those are check marks. Right? So you are present and you are there. And although you've had a tough 10-year battle, you have come out as a better father than you would have been 10 years ago, just there and sober.
Yeah, of course.
And you have the ability now to hold the gratitude for being sober and being in their lives.
Yeah.
And have the moments where you say, I wish I played Barbies. What was I thinking earlier? I was just too tired.
Sure.
So give yourself a little grace using that along the way, because your story, so silly, but it's like your pain is your fuel.
Yeah.
Right? So you're able to be a better father now for the rest of their lives.
Right. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it's going to be hard to get over those base emotions that you created.
Right.
And sure, yeah, a lot of those are valid feelings, but it's a valid logic, right?
Right.
But the feelings aren't valid. You're making up your own narrative too, to feed your resentment on yourself.
Right. It's what we talked about earlier. My past cycles or my past situations, how I dealt with my kid, are my expectations for now.
Yeah.
And so I have to work very hard at reframing those old ideas of who I was, how I presented, and what will be my outcome.
Yeah.
Because, and I think it has a lot to do with being very proactive of who I am every day.
Mm.
I constantly check myself. I have to wake up in the morning and pray to God that I will not use a drink or a drug to deal with my real problem, which is my ego. And I have to remember that without working on myself every day, I will end up using drugs and alcohol again. Because that's my go-to, that's my comfortable place, that's my beautiful cycle I love.
Yeah.
And so, I do give myself grace.
Yeah.
I'm not the person that is super hard on myself anymore.
Yeah.
I was super hard on myself for a very long time in my life for a purpose. Mm-hmm. As hard as I could be on myself was the easier it was for me to relapse. Mm-hmm. If I could convince myself in my narrative that I was the worst, then I can be the worst.
Yeah.
And that repetitive narrative, that negative talk, self-talk, whatever the fuck you want to call it,
Yeah.
was my only drive to convince myself that
Yeah.
I needed to use drugs and alcohol again to escape the worst person that I am.
Yeah.
Because nothing else matters right now.
Yeah.
Except escaping.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to take on daily.
It's not.
It's not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's good. I love to hear that.
I don't think so because I do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make a checklist and be a fucking neurotic person and convince yourself that it's a lot, it will be a lot.
Yeah.
I don't have to do too much. I have to wake up in the morning. I have to pray to my higher power to take the obsession away from me for that day. I have to go to a meeting. I have to call my sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
All within 2 hours of me waking up.
Yeah.
If I can do that, I'm
Do anything.
I'm 99.9% have a chance to not use for that rest of that day.
It's amazing. And there's a lot to be said from perspective of someone that hasn't gone through what you've gone through. When I am off of my morning routine that has saved me from going to very dark places.
Yeah.
With addiction tendencies and self-destruction tendencies and using whatever it may be, whether it's a physical substance or mental way of being, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's amazing how taking away the positive routine will throw me right back.
Yeah.
And I have something I listen to every morning when I get in my car. If I don't get in my car and I drive, like my day is different than when I get in my car and I listen to this certain thing that I promised myself I'd listen to 365 days because it made me feel like I could live the day without going down this negative path. And it's just like, it's the simple things, I think, for anybody out there that feels anything like lost or I think it's so hard to say that it is so much simpler than we make it, because when you feel so low, it doesn't register or compute in the same way as when you've experienced it for a month, right?
Sure.
Whatever the little habit is. But I urge anybody to create one silly, stupid routine. Not stupid, but silly enough that it doesn't feel big to you.
Yeah.
Like getting up and getting on your knees and praying. Or getting up and kind of sitting before you move and taking a sip of water for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Or getting up and making your bed.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
It's all these simple core things that make such a difference in your life. And then, once your life becomes easier for a normal person like you, when I say
it's a weird concept to I don't even know how to address myself because
when I say normal, I mean not like an addict.
Yeah.
Like you have addict tendencies.
Yeah.
Like you can get addicted to things.
Oh, absolutely.
But you're not an addict.
No, because I know that.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And your healthy boundaries have helped you from remain on that other side.
Yeah.
So
what I'm close.
So what I'm saying, as a normal person, we call them normies, okay? What do they call normal people in Harry Potter? Muggles. As a muggle,
can I be a muggle?
Yeah, as a muggle.
Solid.
As a muggle, you have your.
What house did you put me in?
You have your.
All right, we'll get back to it.
I was going to say Hufflepuff at first.
I'm a Hufflepuffer.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hufflepuff.
Yeah. According to Reddit quiz, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can take the quiz somewhere, yeah.
What do you think I am?
Oh, I don't like it. I don't want to answer.
All right, don't answer.
Could be a Ravenclaw.
No.
Could be. Huh. We're going to do the quiz after.
Yeah, I'm going to try it. As a muggle, with the routine in the morning, tell me when life gets busy, when you get off of that routine, like how quickly after that do you start feeling like all this anxiety and stuff? And like, is it quick?
I think it's quick. Yes. I think it's almost instantaneous.
Okay. Valid. That is just like an addict alcoholic not going to meetings.
Yes.
Or calling their sponsor.
Yeah.
You take away those things and you will, not right away, use.
Yeah.
You could.
You might not notice it. You might not do it right away.
But it'll take 2 weeks and you'll be fucking dreaming about that next use. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I remember saying this when you, not to toot my own horn, but, I remember that feeling so well, and I really, when you were in the, what are we calling it? The pits, right?
Sure.
There's no right answer for an addict to get help, and that's just really the hard thing, I think, about my perspective, or
what do you mean no right answer?
There's not a okay when you're this is a terrible example but it's the only one that's coming to my mind because I don't believe in this. But if you have cancer and you need to shrink the cancer, you get chemotherapy.
Sure.
Don't do it.
So
definitely don't do it. But as in dealing with somebody that is sick in addiction way, there's no right answer. And I know this because I know so many people that deal with it for loved ones.
Sure.
And I've had
every recovery is different.
Every recovery is different. Just like dealing with everybody's anxiety is different. Anxiety is not a...
Sure.
I'm not going to speak on that, but like...
Yeah.
It's a personal journey that everybody goes through, and everybody has different addictions. Everybody has different ways of dealing with it. Everybody has different experiences, traumas, ways of thinking. Every person is so individual that every treatment should be individualized. But, you do have these, accessibilities, options. You have options out there that are known to be successful. So you have detox. You have a recovery program. Yep. You have in-house programs. You have outpatient programs. So there's this collective basket full of all these things that might do the trick.
Yeah.
Just like for smoking or for this addiction or that or anything in life.
Yeah.
And you kind of go through these lists like this will be good, this will be good, this will be good. But I never knew how to communicate this or help you. That's a whole nother beast. Yeah. But I just knew in my heart of hearts that it's not just addiction work. It's just he has to grow for himself every day. And I think that's so overwhelming for any human to understand that if you want a different outcome in your life or in the way that you feel inside, it is an every single day battle, and it doesn't always feel good. Most of the time it doesn't. And I think that we look at people with addiction, or we look at people with known problems, and we're able to say, oh yeah, you need a therapist, or you need a program, or we all need a program. Yeah. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Sure.
If you ever had anything but naive glee and perfect perspective on everything, that you were just raised that way and you were just one of the fucking lucky ones, and you have all the money. I mean, the list goes on and on to create whatever it is to have a sound, a life without any turmoil or any inner battles or exterior battles.
Yeah.
And I feel very, very, very strongly about it needing to be present in daily life.
Yeah. I think the last 8 months for me have been, now I am I have so many relapses under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
this last 8 months for me has been, for lack of a better word, just fucking easy.
You had an awakening.
I had a convincing moment that, like, if I want it to be, everything will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I have this understanding that I don't have to let a fucking thing affect me the way I have my entire life.
Yep.
I also had been through so much fucking pain throughout my life, self-inflicted, through so many relapses, that I am convinced that I am just done with that life. You know, I'm convinced that I don't have to use anymore to save myself. I'm convinced that I am consistently on the right path.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that I want to be sober. And it's been so hard to convince myself that I want to be sober in the progress of recovering. And so, like, all of this work that you have to do to better yourself in your life, all this immense work that to somebody who's just coming in, it seems like a huge fucking task, is so minimal to me. Because I've convinced myself this is the way I want to live.
Yeah.
The second you convince yourself, you don't need to remind yourself. You know?
Yeah.
I have to do all this right now. I would love to go see my daughter every day.
Yeah.
And be with her and play with her every single fucking day. I don't live with her. I have to be at least a meeting a day. Most days I go to 2. That disrupts my time going to see her. But I know and I'm convinced that if I do this now, in the short-term sobriety, year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is, my base in recovery will be so solid that I will not have to worry about relapsing ever again. You know? And I've set myself up for that for the last, whatever, now I'd say 2 years, 2.5 years of really immersing myself in recovery.
Do you think that, do you have a expectation, I guess, in your head of what it will look like in a year, or how you will do, or do you have an expectation of your recovery process changing or minimalizing? Like, do you think, like, oh, I'm going to get to this place that I'm only going to have to put in this much work a day? Or do you get, you know what I mean? Or do you crave that?
I think that's unfair to me if I do.
Yeah.
Because all we have is today.
Mm-hmm.
I can't worry about what my logistical schedule will look like in recovery-wise a year from now.
Yeah.
I can't be like, if I get a year, I can drop down to 1 meeting a week. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do that, and I'm screwed.
Of course. I guess I knew that. In a sense, I'm just more curious
question,
about how your brain, if you do have those thoughts, because I guess
there are a couple facts that I know. After I get my year, and this is the only expectation I hold, I will stop sponsoring people. My counselor, Danny, has been asking me, like, when are you going to start raising your hand? I'm like egotistically, I think I should be at a year. He's like, why? It's like, fucking, you've been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been through.
I think that's good. I think that's a good boundary to hold with yourself. It's a goal. It's a healthy goal.
I think, it's a healthy goal, and I also think it is like a thing for me. When I see people raise their hand with less than a year, I get judgmental. So maybe it's an egotistical step for me. But anyways, that's...
So you gotta work through that right there before you probably should. So it's like...
Yeah, but I think it's a very valid timeline expectation for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, I held no expectation or no facts as far as where I should be.
That's great.
In a future timeline.
That's
in
great.
My recovery. Because honestly, I think my progression is always very quick and things happen very fast for me. You know? And I think when I get back into recovery, like I always get money back fast. I always get this back fast. I always get that back fast. For me, it hasn't been as fast because I haven't been as worried.
Yeah, I think that's great too, because I see that growth in you significantly.
Yeah.
Like and it also goes along with the expectations of repeating patterns.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I always knew that when you were out of detox, now we're here.
Sure.
So it's different stages, right? So now you're an inpatient. It's like, whew, okay, he's going to be safe for
3 months.
For 3 months. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not going to have to deal with this. I'll say it how my brain process.
Yeah.
We're not going to have to deal with this. I'm not going to have to worry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to cry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to, you have different emotions because it's like sad. Oh, I want to bring you something. I want to, but you know what I mean? It's almost like you're safe and it's just a protection bubble.
Sure.
And then after that, whew, here goes the big one. Now you're out. Where do you go? How are you going to manage the emotions of not having this, having bills to pay, not having the money, having to now dig your way out after you're out? And it's like you were in that protection bubble as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can hone in on your recovery.
Right.
So that's, I think, why I always was like, no, he needs to be in a program for 5 years. Get this guy to a fucking monastery and have him live there for 5 years. He's going to be fine. Because I knew that it's the steps that are so hard, because as soon as a circumstance in life hits, it's like everybody has a shift in their growth. You know what I mean? Everybody gets set back. So you'd go out and then you'd do the outpatient, and then as soon as the outpatient started getting to the end of I'm almost here, and I was like, it was almost in my brain a clockwork expectation. Yeah, I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Where is he going to go? How am I going to manage the emotions of feeling guilty for not helping him, not taking him in, not giving him money? He's going to need money. He's going to need rides. He doesn't have a car. He's going to be here. Not going to know where he is. As soon as I don't know where you are, I'm worried.
Sure.
Right? And that's my own journey. It has nothing to do with the logistics of it. But my point being is that I see the growth in your demeanor and ability to not be chasing the next thing.
Sure.
And that is I can commend you so hard on that, because I see it when you, just in the demeanor of your daily life, and not being, and I know you're grateful for all that you have. A lot of people don't have it. A lot of people have it a different journey where it might be harder to, they're dealing with those punches in the face every day. I don't have a job.
Right.
I have no income. I have nowhere to live, no support. I can't get to the meeting. You know what I mean? Those things.
Yeah.
And where there's a will, there's a way. There's something to be said. Your pain is your fuel.
Yep.
Okay, but it's been really nice to see that it's not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get, I've seen you do it a couple times, and it does get scary when that happens. Like, oh, I want to move out. I can't be at this house anymore. This house it's toxic for me. And in my head, I'm like, oh, is it toxic for him? And he's making the right move for himself, or does that mean I need to escape so I can make my next move?
Sure.
And so that's just all my fear-based control.
Yeah, all valid feelings because of past expectations.
Yeah, but it is nice to see people that don't know Steve very well will be like, this kid, he fucking moves, he's so fast, and getting on that whole topic, just a doer and go and blah blah blah. But that being said, you still are like that, but I see significantly how much you slowed down, not in just your activity, but in your mental process.
Sure.
And your mental process slowing down, it doesn't matter how fast your body moves, because your aura is slower.
Sure.
Does that make sense? So it's even if you're getting stuff done diligently, fastly, blah, 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 your demeanor about it is very, it's much more calm, and it's much more, you can see that you're letting it.
Right.
You know, you're letting things happen, and again, like we were talking about before, it's just the control of, you know, wanting the dollar instead of the penny every day for 100 days. It's like,
yeah, I think for me, it's like a lack of control. It's letting go of the control.
exactly.
I feel like when I wanted everything back, I needed to control everything for me to get there.
Yeah.
And there was no patience involved. So, like, when I started to understand what patience was at 37 years old, for the first time, that little bit of taste, it was freeing, it was peaceful, because I was not expecting myself to do this, that, the other thing, just as fast as I needed to, so I can please everybody else but myself. What is last question, and then we're done.
Okay, cool. Is there, if so, what is the tool or the conversation you're having in your head when you start to feel yourself, or do you just not feel that anymore? Because, like, you know, I've been working on things for a long time, and it's an everyday practice for me to be like, oh, that's right, I don't have to control this. Oh, that's right, I don't have to feed into this.
So I think for my...
Like, is it be patient?
I don't have a self-narrative talk when it comes to anything. Majority of the time, my feet do the walking, and that's how I get things done. Same thing with my mind. It's already just like processing and doing things. I think I've had to be reframing this patience talk, or let's think before we do something, for so many years. And, like, I am a very big believer of I fuck up, I learn. I fuck up, I learn, and then that learn becomes my constant. And so, like, I don't have to keep reminding myself to be patient or this, that, the other thing. I'm also very confident in who I am today. So that takes out a lot of the process of wanting more all the time.
Yeah.
And when I stop thinking and just letting myself do it, I am a patient person. When I start thinking too hard and much about certain things and how this one will think and how that's when I fuck up. Keep it simple.
Do you always have an internal dialogue? No, that's what you're saying? I think I'm trying to understand what happens inside. I
always have an internal dialogue.
Okay. We all do, right? Always.
I don't think we all do. So there's a percentage of. So, like, when you're thinking to yourself, do you hear yourself speak, or are you just seeing the words, or understanding the words?
We need another hour. This is just going to get. No. Yeah, I hear it. I'm constantly talking.
So there's some people that don't hear anything inside their head.
I know. We had this conversation years ago. What is this?
Because Joey Herbs, he doesn't hear anything when he thinks. There's a percentage of people that don't think and that don't have a dialogue inside their head. Anyways.
We gotta get into this. We gotta get deep into this. We watched something on. All right. Anyways,
yeah, we'll have to watch something.
We'll touch back on this.
Yeah.
Next one. Whoa.
All right, guys. That was another episode of Chaos and Recovery. Thanks.